Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another week of Love in Action, Deconstruction, Junction. We are so thrilled to be with you today. It is Dr. Flo, online coach and mentor. Every day, I wake up, put my feet on the floor. Sometimes I brush my teeth early. Sometimes I brush them later, as we discovered earlier in the week. And then I come out to encourage, equip, and empower everyone to use their time, talents, and treasures to put their love in action and be happy, healthy, and free in this life. As always, I'm joined by the amazing Tara Paolo Studio. Introduce yourself to the folks.
Hello, peoples. I'm Tara Paolo. I was thinking about the teeth. Hang on. I was thinking about the teeth thing. And what I was going to say was I brushed my teeth right before we got on here today because they felt gross. So anyway, I talk about teeth. I'm also a biracial musician, your resident white-facing biracial musician. I talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. I changed my TikTok bio today, and there's that. That's all you need to know about me. Let's deconstruct.
What does the TikTok bio say now? That's so funny to me. What does it say?
Because I had to do that thing for fan base, which was a wasted effort because the app is trash. Hang on. Please hold. Please hold.
Help us.
Heaven help us. What does it say? It says, biracial, multi-passionate singer talking about the ish nobody wants to talk about. That's what it says.
Yes.
Can we get it?
Yeah. Okay. A little bit. And how does it feel to proclaim yourself as this? You essentially changed your I am.
I don't know that I changed my I am. I think before it said biracial, multi-passionate musician with like some hearts or something. I don't know.
Before we get started, who are you looking for in the world? What kinds of people are you looking to connect with right now in your life?
People that are willing to think differently and willing to actually explore their thoughts instead of just being angry at their thoughts. Or
angry at their thoughts or angry at the world.
Or judgmental about their thoughts. Or, just people that are willing to hear another perspective. Rather than staying stuck in their status quo, their own status quo.
Yeah, if that's you, continue to tap into our programs or consider putting your name on the host card with us. We would love to hear from bold dreamers, bold thinkers, and people who want to break outside of all the boxes that they, in quotes, try to put us in. That's why we are continuing Deconstruction Junction. Tara, remind the folks that about 15 seconds or more, take all the leeway you need. I'm not counting your time. How exactly did we get to Deconstruction Junction? We were talking about it briefly before we started the taping today. How did we get here?
Yeah, because Dr. Flo this morning was like, that's your segment. And I was like, no, girl, it's not. But anyway, so last year I did a week of masterclasses, which y'all can go in my broadcast channel, Tara Paolo Studio News. And if you scroll up a little ways, there's a couple of those masterclasses that I dropped for free $99 in there. I'll continue to drop those, but there was a week of masterclasses last year on all the topics that we like to talk about. And Dr. Flo was like, that was wonderful. We should continue them. And I was like, great. So we started out doing a week of vocal, a week of social media, a week of deconstruction, and then I think it was a Ask Me Anything week. But then it got to where, like, essentially, I think Dr. Flo says this, that there's only actually 4 storylines in the whole entire world, right? And so when you're in a vocal masterclass, you're still talking about deconstruction. And when you're in deconstruction, you're still talking about social media. And when you're in social media, you're still talking about all of the other things that surround us. And so Dr. Flo was like, let's just put it all in one thing and do it weekly. And I was like, okay, great. So that's how we got here. So you'll even see today, y'all, I brought a social media one. about community. There's a long one that y'all are going to have to buckle up for. It's a whole 9 minute and 57 minute, 9 minute and 57 second tickety talks. But I think it's important for us to pizzle. So, yes, we start in deconstruction with one of our favorites. Matu.
Food, water, clothing, shelter, education, sanitation, medical care, and time. We ask the question, how do we organize within our communities? Those are the problems that we should be solving. I'm having a tricked out lemongrass. Let's get to drawing. A sovereign community has a handle on each and every one of these things for its citizens. It's generally true across the world, and it's just a start. We haven't even talked about infrastructure, electricity, road. These are the very basics, and what you struggle with depends on where you are in the world and what your governing system is. For example, we in the United States are very time poor. You can have all these things, probably not this one, but you can have all these things and not have time, and that's still a metric of poverty. I'm a Sierra Leone and Black American. I do work in both these communities. So what am I doing? Oh my God, I'm so glad you asked. I'm sending a shipping container to Sierra Leone so that we can have some mobile libraries that have children's literature. Everybody needs to learn how to read. Bam, that helps take care of education. There's also a rice harvest coming at the end of 2025 that needs a little bit more machinery. Shout out to the people who voluntarily pay for floodings that actually paid for this. I got an adorable comment that said, I don't know if Southwest flies there directly, but they do have 2 free bags. You could probably put the books in there. I don't mean to laugh. That's so cute, though. Right, so Sierra Leone is a country in sub-Saharan Africa. It's got about 7 million people. There are no direct flights from the States. Everything is privatized. When your country is that poor, everything becomes privatized because there's no incentive at a federal or international level to subsidize. Just to rent the container, it's almost $8,000. And then it has to get on a boat, cross the Atlantic, go through customs, which means we're going to have to subject ourselves to robbery, and then end up in free time. You're looking at somewhere between 15 and 17. Here's what's up. I will pay for everything administrative work, unsexy. I'll do it. But I've been brute forcing filling the container myself. I would love your support. If you want to help me hit more of these metrics of poverty, greenhouses, medical supplies, period cups, clean underwear. Everything here you can buy at Walmart for like $10 or less does not appear over there unless somebody does privatized shipping. I'm going to do it anyways, but if you want to help me, I would love that help.
Is it just me, or do they speed up their videos?
That video was definitely sped up, especially at the beginning, and then there were like certain parts that were slower, which I wish they had left the very initial community part slower. But I think they're trying to fit it into a minute and a half. Yes, baby. But that's why I took that screenshot, because what I loved about this video was not like, yes, support Sierra Leone, support Ismatu if that's what your heart desires. But I think this little graphic and the pointing out that Americans are so time poor, and the things that the communally we can work towards getting more of, so we can work towards getting more time. And then the process of showing how that is happening in Ismatu's world in support of Sierra Leone is a really important storyline, because I think that a lot of us get to, okay, well, we kind of know how to build community. We kind of know how to talk to each other. We kind of know how to sit in a room together. But like, what action are we actually taking today? Right? Like, what is communing doing for these things that we all need more of? And so that's what I really liked about this video, is it was like, here is community. Here is what communities need to thrive. Here is an example of what I'm doing and what you're supporting me doing as a community in this specific other community, right? And I just think that's really important, that it doesn't always have to be the same thing. It doesn't always have to be monetary. Like they said, they're going to send the books anyway, right? They're going to pay for private shipping, but you can help. You can go to Walmart and you can buy the $10 pack of Hanes and ship it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that this is maybe not necessarily out of the box, but it's definitely a further step than most even activists that I see on the internet that are actively building community go, right? Like, they build the community, they get a shit ton of followers, they get a lot of people in their Patreons to support their monthly budget. And I'm not poo-pooing that. Everybody deserves to eat, but they're not mobilizing community in any of these aspects. So that's why I thought this video was important. And I wish they had slowed down. So hopefully there'll be another something. I'm sure you can go to their Patreon and see if there's something. Not their Patreon. They have a Substack. And I can look and see if that is readily available. But yeah. Those are my thoughts.
Wow. Yeah, there's so many pieces and components as it relates to building these movements and coalition building. I did not know that they were in Sierra Leone, and I did not know that everything was privatized there.
Yeah, I don't think they're in Sierra Leone, but they are from, like, I don't know if they were born there or like their family is from there. There's something. There's a large connection to Sierra Leone.
So they're essentially trying to get resources to the people who
Mhm.
need to build and grow.
Exactly. Much like,
Which is really decent.
Palestinians that are in the States that are asking for money or asking for supplies or asking for SIM cards or facilitating that for the people that are still in Gaza.
And asking for supplies, they are, because this asshat is coming into power.
It's actually a kind picture of him.
It really is. It really
It's
is.
really, he actually looks like a little bit presidential in that picture.
Yeah, it's nuts the way the smoke and mirrors go.
Was this sourced by you or sourced by the World Wide Web? This particular image. Why did you choose this image? I have questions.
Why did I choose this image when I was working on today's project?
Yeah. It's like, it's just such a kind, like, I don't know. This is the first time I've seen that image of him, like, because I see so much of the, like, making him look like a fool. You know what I mean?
But this is what the man looks like.
I have never seen this image of him looking so nicely and actually in a suit that looks like it fits. My God.
But he is posed for this shot. It is probably undoubtedly retouched in post production. It may not be all like him, but as it relates to show business, which he is a show business person, this is what he looks like, or this is what he looks like in the minds of the people who believe in him enough to have enshrined him again as the 47th president of the United States. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean that someone doesn't see it. That's just what he is.
Right.
And what he looks like. But Tara's going to be sharing her deconstruction shares today that have popped up for her in her travels on the internet. I'm doing a bit of a recap on some of the most controversial things that happened during 2024, because I believe this is our last deconstruction junction before the end of the year. And we have to deconstruct this guy's return to the U.S. presidency. He won the 2024 presidential election, defeating Kamala, and it came after the survival of an assassination attempt, which is debatable about whether that was real or not. The people say it happened.
Listen, we said on the day of the assassination attempt that is the day he won. And it listen, were we wrong? Go check us. Go check. So if the chat might be blown up, but go check somewhere that we done said it. Because when I saw that image, that's why I was surprised that it wasn't the image from the assassination attempt, with the blood on the face, the fake blood. Y'all know.
Well, I wouldn't bring that in here because I don't believe that it actually happened as the American people saw it dramatically done. I work in theater, so I can't believe things like that. So it would be beneath my integrity to bring it in here, because I know that it's up there with Phantom of the Opera.
The Phantom of the Opera is dead. Inside my mind. Is there inside my mind? He's there, the Phantom of the Opera. Also, y'all, it's not an opera. It's not an opera. Don't
And
Do not.
it's not good.
Do not. It's not an opera. Don't ask opera singers about Phantom of the Opera. We do not care about Phantom of the Opera because it's not an actual opera. There is an opera part, but it's not an opera. Anyway, this this human, you know, I think that there's a lot of people that could stand to review the line from Hamilton that says, if you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. And y'all fell for anything in that man. Sorry. That way. I'm all backwards. I'm mirrored. And I think that one of the worst parts is that he will be inaugurated on Martin Luther King Day in 2025. And that just sucks. And I think a lot of you are willing to, this is what I told my mom. I said, I don't understand. I understand why people could get to the place that they believe that this person is actually going to help them. What I don't understand is why they're willing to let so many people be harmed in order to get what they want. I've never understood that. I've never understood that premise of people that walk out in the world and they're like, yeah, I'm the only one that deserves anything. And it doesn't matter how many people are hurt by me being uplifted. I think that's a weird place to be. And I think you should think about that.
I'm with you. I just wanted to highlight that the next 4 years are going to be my catch-all word for things like this, y'all. It's interesting. I think that you're going to need to really click into your discernment with the rise of AI, which we're going to talk about later, and with the lies that these people in power tell. You're going to need to be grounded. And Love and Action Network is going to be here to help you ground next year as we were this year to encourage, equip, and empower. But I wanted to talk about this because this was a crazy comeback. And I don't know if these people are coming back for harmony or for chaos. But those of us who are light workers and love lights, we have to decide who we want to be and how we want to be in the world. It's really, really important. All right. We've got a mom on the move. So we're going to come back after talking about this amazing woman in power. And we are a fan in Love and Action Network of women in power. There were some major global political shifts in 2024. This year, we witnessed significant political upheavals worldwide. In the United Kingdom, Labour leader Keir Starmer became prime minister. And then Mexico elected its first female president, Claudia Sheinbaum, marking a historic milestone. So we didn't quite do it here in the States, but Mexico got it done. And then there were a bunch of far-right parties happening in the European Union. Let's see if Praolo's back to talk about what was going on in all of these elections. I know that you keep your finger on the tab of politics and global politics a bit more than I do. It depresses me. The only reason why I wanted to stop and talk about this today in Deconstruction Junction is because I'm really proud that Mexico, who are our southern neighbors, did not have an issue seeing a woman in power, and somehow us Americans could not get it together this go round.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one thing we have to remember is that I mean, and I don't know anything about Claudia. I really don't. I have no clue if she is right or left leaning. But sure, representation is a win, but it's not enough of a win, particularly if she is aligning herself with the far right parties of the rest of the world. We've seen female leaders like Merkel be sort of middle of the road, right? And then we've seen, I can't remember her name, but the leader of, I believe it was New Zealand, that like was like the youngest elected prime minister of that country, and like beasted it out, man. Like progressive to the max, did not take any commentary, left no crumbs. You know, like
Jacinda Ardern. Jacinda
yes.
Ardern. Yeah.
So like again, like yes, it's a win that there's a woman, but sometimes people people celebrate the win a little too soon, because women, just like Black people, just like Hispanic people, just like, you know, just any marginalization, just like LGBTQIA plus people, just because you are a member of that community does not mean that you are always right or that you are progressive. So I think we have to be a little careful in our Piper. Stop it. Stop. Here. Stop. Thank you. Okay. We are at the end of the day, folks, which means we have a fussy child. So anyway, representation matters, and we have to also do the research. So the thing that I actually want to focus on is the far right lean globally. And we've seen this now with Trump. We've seen it with Kier, who I thought his name was Pierce. Whatever. I didn't know his name was spelled Kier. I had no idea. Anyway, we've seen it with Boris Johnson. That's a name that a lot of you guys are going to know. We've seen it with Brexit. We've seen it with several of the Middle Eastern leaders, including Netanyahu. We've seen it with the leader of Turkey. We've seen it with the leader of India. Like, there are all of these, over the last decade, countries that have shoved far right. Bolsonaro in Brazil. There obviously, a lot of the things that are going on in South America are actually due to the things that the US did in the 70s to those countries. Not great. But it is worth sticking a pin and remembering that Trump is a part of a global trend. And so it's not that we're absolving how bad Trump is, but he is also a product of the turning of the tide, which is a backlash of all of the progressive movements that happened in the early 2000s, right? In the first 10 years post Cold War, etc. So that's just my little blurb on like the political. Like I said, I don't know anything about Claudia. Congratulations to you for being the first woman. I will be interested to see her politics and see if she stands up to Donald Trump, because that's a big thing too.
So far, she has been in the news. But yeah, we have to stay attuned to these things. Otherwise, they kind of get out of control. All right, here we are.
This is, I want to preface.
Doesn't it seem kind of bizarre?
Okay, y'all, this is a 10-minute video. I don't want you to worry so much about, like, if you don't know anything about the Madeline Pendleton drama, that's fine. It's not drama, it's racism. And you don't know anything about the Kendra drama that followed, because Kendra stuff, as you'll see in this video, and I personally agree with Jean, and I agree with Evan. I want you to catch what's at the end of this video. Like the last, when it's just Evan talking about the way in which we exist on the internet together. That's the part I want you to pay attention to. So let's go.
and fucked up and disingenuous the way that people are coming to attack this white woman when she's literally saying all of the stuff that we've been begging white people to understand.
Let's do a social autopsy on a media event that recently happened with a trending video. And I want you all to join me in taking steps to look at things the way like a researcher or like an academic would look at it. Hi, my name is Evan. I'm a bioethicist and I specialize in misinformation, disinformation, and conspiracy theories as a threat to public health. I think by now we've all seen this video.
Madeline Pendleton is racist. The second thing, that does not have to be a problem. Madeline Pendleton, or anyone for that matter, being racist is not a problem unless they are unwilling.
Exhausted by these conversations where
that stitch of that video went really viral, but I want us to examine more and let's contextualize further. So let's also look at the rest of what was said, because that was a very distinctive place to cut the stitch.
Let me play you the whole clip so that you have the context for what everyone's mad about.
Madeline Pendleton, or anyone for that matter, being racist is not a problem unless they are unwilling to examine the ways in which they are racist and the ways that that racism harms those around them. Everyone grown and raised in the United States is racist because it is so ingrained in our society. If you think that you are not racist and do not have any racist thoughts, what that means is that you are not examining close enough what you are thinking. You are not aware enough of your...
So one of the first things I always like to examine when I see stitched videos, especially stitched videos that are supposed to be accountability based, is I always like to ask what all was said, where was somebody clipped, and what context did they add? Is this the last 10 seconds of their video? Is this the first 10 seconds of their video? Is this the middle of their video? And that is a very important question, as we can see here. Where Kendra is clipped is a distinctive choice. And what was said right after was important context to the point that she wanted to make. And the point that was actually something that plenty of people on this app have said, particularly BIPOC or Black and Brown creators, when talking about things like race. But then there was also this issue relating to Kendra.
Call out culture and cancel culture is white supremacy. Call out culture and cancel culture is white supremacy.
So, for clarity, you posted a bad take about Madeline Pendleton's racism. Black people called you out. And this is your response? You appear to be wearing the same fit in both of those videos. So I'm surmising that that's what happened, okay?
Now let's again add more context, because you heard at the end of that clip that that creator said, you're wearing the same fit, so that's what I'm surmising happened. So let's look at the timestamping when Kendra posted these videos. Here's the video that everybody had the initial problem with. And as you can see down here, if we look all the way down here, I was able to snap a photo of this 3 days ago. This is now longer, but at the time that I took this photo or took this screenshot, it was 3 days ago. So here's the double down video, and this also says 3 days ago, and that's further proven by the outfit that this person's in. And it was also mentioned by the creator who talked about the doubling down. Here's a screenshot from this stitched video on the same day that I screenshot the other ones. So the video that has gone mega viral, you can see how many likes it has over there. Looks like 48,000 at the time. And this is from 12 hours prior. 12 hours. This video, this stitched video, occurred almost 2 days later from both videos. So now that you've had further context with timestamping, I ask the question again, did this person double down? Also, was it in the nature of this creator to double down? One of the places or ways that we can look at that is we can look at how they engage in things like the comments, other extenuating media that's not exactly another video or follow-up content, but actually back and forth and like more conversational than like video content would be. So this is a common exchange between the mega viral video or the more viral video, calling out the original creator, Kendra. And here's Kendra engaging with this person and further clarifying, but also agreeing. One of the leading ways that we can address things like misinformation and disinformation on the internet and on social media is if we don't let ourselves become inadvertently the vessels for creating or passing along disinformation. And a big part of that is going to constantly making sure that you are contextualizing either the media you're making or the media that you're uplifting and supporting, either by liking, sharing, commenting on, etc., engaging with in any way, because that pushes it further out to the algorithm. We also want to be hypersensitive to targeting individuals rather than targeting topics, issues, concepts, systems, any of those things. As a content creator myself, I definitely understand the savviness of using other people's content as a jump starting point for either adding further context, adding more clarity, adding other concepts, terminology, educating further, all of those things. That is a savvy move, especially on this platform. But one of the things that's really important to me as an ethicist is to also look at how other people are going to be perceived or treated based on the content we've used and the snippet we've used, and the context that we have or have not added, and the due diligence of the context that we have or have not done ahead of time. Because the assumption for many people consuming our media is that we've already contextualized it enough in the clip that we've used, and they don't need to know anything further. A thing that often happens on the internet is this thing called disinhibition, which Dr. Mary Aiken, who is a cyber psychologist, talks about as part of the reason why we are comfortably inhumane to each other online. And what happens in disinhibition is sort of like an explosion of schadenfreude, which is just the joy we get out of seeing someone that we don't like experience damage, is that we stop recognizing that there is someone human on the other side of something. Additionally, when taking on the topic of race theory or any sort of theory when it comes to a marginalized or an oppressed group, what we want to always be addressing is systemic issues, not individuals. As someone who works in public health, trying to get people to take care of their health by addressing individuals is sort of like trying to whack-a-mole or grab fish in a running river. It just isn't as effective, and oftentimes what it leads to is moralized emotion like shame. And shame is an emotion that when people experience it, they don't become learners, they actually become oppositional or defiant. And that's because they feel harm. Shame induces the sensation of being harmed to the extent where people can experience real harm in real life or harm themselves. This is not to say that some people haven't earned being pilloried. They absolutely have. But the question has to be, has this person done harm, and is this person trying? If we are looking to be educators on the internet for an audience of everyone, the first thing we have to be very, very concise and granular about is being able to identify when someone is trying and when someone is doing harm. And what is the follow-up to that? Because plenty of these folks, you can drop into their DMs anytime and be corrective without being injurious to either each other. Additionally, if we are going to be educators around things like racial theory, changing to a more equitable praxis, any of those things, then part of the foundation of that has to be things like restorative justice models. And restorative justice means that we consider that all people are valuable members of the community, unless they are doing the kind of egregious harm and not learning or not changing their behaviors to the point where it endangers everyone. Historically, the reason a community would shame someone is because they're building up to banishment or exile. And the point of banishment or exile was to recognize that that person was so dangerous to the community that they could not be in and amongst everyone, and they could not be trusted to be with each other. And if we are going to take somebody down the path of shame and banishment or exile, then we have to recognize that we're not just throwing something away, we're actually a community that's losing an individual that could possibly have value if rehabilitated, or addressed or corrected or learned further. And an individual is losing all of their community. And a major place that people with disabilities find community statistically is online and social media. Out of the top 3 ways that we use the internet, 2 of them are related to chronic illness, disease, and disability, and people looking for community. And Kendra is a disability rights activist, advocate, and academic. And this leads me to my last point, which is around endangering people who are also from other vulnerable or marginalized populations. And if we are looking to be educators who talk about vulnerable or marginalized populations specifically, we can't be singular with that and look at just race. We also have to look at the harms of things like ableism, especially in places like our comment sections. Because allowing rampant ableism to the point where even people who are addressing it to go unaddressed or to go undeleted is part of doing harm to other Black people too. It is not recentering Kendra's whiteness to say that we also should care about disability, because there are people who are Black and disabled. And when those people come across our content talking about racial injustices, but seeing ableism being allowed to run ripshod in our comments, doesn't make us seem like we're actually as knowledgeable as we are. It creates a sense of disingenuousness to our callouts, which ultimately dulls the effect of them and just makes people fear us.
I know that was heavy, y'all. We will put the link. I think I already put it in Deconstruction Junction, but we'll put the link somewhere because that was a lot of information to grasp. But again, like the first part of the video, I don't care if you know about it. The last part of the video, I think as activists and educators is so important. And also like focusing in on intersectionality and the cyber psychology and like the amount of shame that people feel, like all of that stuff, and the difference between trying, right, like a person trying and a person intentionally doing harm, like that is such a big deal. That it, like, and the alienation from the community, and the also the personalization, like Evan said so much in that video, but like what, and this is the question I've been asking for a long time, like when, like, and I kind of don't like that Evan started the video. I know why, because they were providing context, but they ended talking about the systemic issues instead of talking about Madeline Pendleton or Kendra. And that is so important, because it is not about singular people on the internet, and it is not about making people into a monolith. It is just saying that that is not addressing the actual systemic issues that we face every single freaking day on this planet. Like, it's such a waste of energy to do those types of things, or to intentionally, as Evan said, put another marginalized creator that has a different marginalization than you in the line of fire, again, purposefully, because we know that those stitches were that way to incite, because that is the way that TikTok works, right? And so I'm in no way defending Kendra. I think the cancel culture thing being white supremacy, which they have since deleted that video Kendra has, I think that was a bad take. However, that video did not come after the Madeline Pendleton video. It came before, because I saw them at the time that they were released. So all I'm saying is that, like, as Jean started the video with the stitch that Evan did, like, white people saying things that Black people are urging them to say, and then getting canceled or being put in the line of fire, I'm not sure that that is the way that we want to create a new society, right? I understand why it's happening. I do think that there's a conversation to be had on, like, is that really, like, I think the conversation can be switched from, was Kendra wrong, to, is that actually what we're trying to teach white people about race? Right? Because if Kendra is following the talking points of Black people, which is true, Kendra was following the talking points of Black people, it just happened to come out of a white woman's mouth who is trying to do the work, then we have a discussion to be had as a community. Is that actually, as an activist community and as a Black community, is that what we want people to be saying? So yeah, anyway, again, I'm sorry it was such a dense video, y'all, but I really hope that you go back and take a look at it. I'm going to let Dr. Flo take the mic here, but that video, I saw it this morning. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I was so excited about it, because it just was such a distilled version of what happens on the internet, and like how we can do things on the internet better, and actually help people instead of shaming people, or instead of alienating people, or instead of unintentionally hurting people, right? Or intentionally hurting people. So I'll throw the talking stick to you, Dr. Flo. I'm sorry. That video just gets me all in my
No sorrow, Tara. What I took away from it all was that there's a cyber psychologist that exists who's studying the effects of social media and the ways we engage online seriously. And I love that for us. I can't wait to listen to a couple podcast episodes about her. Dr. Mary Aiken, a pioneering cyber psychologist who does studies about how human behavior changes online. I can't wait to go deeper with her. And I think that Evan did an amazing job of really making it clear that there are all kinds of people groups on the internet. It's important that we make space for everyone. And I keep telling Poppy Water, as it relates to cancel culture, when you stand up for love, you can expect to be canceled. I put a post up this morning on social of Toni Morrison talking about artists being bold in every time of our lives. So, when you're saying things are going to liberate people, expect to be canceled. And I don't know if it's white supremacist culture or not, because I've been canceled by black people too. So just know that when you're trying to do what is good in the world and try to speak up for people who may not be able to speak up for themselves or champion all of humanity, they're going to try to cancel you. But if you've been canceled already, you can just let it go. And be chill with who you are in the world. That's where I'm moving towards. All right, we're going to skip over that one because we already did it. We're back to...
Okay, context. This is our featured artist of the week. But also, it's I don't really care if y'all listen to the Beyonce take, okay? What I care about is something that I'll tell you afterwards, but I'm going to see if I'm going to watch you catch it. It is a video about... Did I put the wrong link, child? Hang on. I'll go find it. Hang on. This is why we... This is why I found it. Ooh, hush. Hush. Here you go. Sorry. My apologies. My bad copy and paste job. There we go. Okay. It's a shorter video. But we have no sound. Why no sound? Hello, folks. Pardon us while we handle technical difficulties. I will take this moment to say, come in on Tuesday. Come in and know what's better, man. On Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, tickets are $10, or you can sponsor somebody in for $20, or you can pay whatever you want. We will get you in the door.
America's best propaganda machine right now. And I get it. Right? Have your criticism, but I believe all art is open to interpretation and criticism. But I think a lot of y'all are being intellectually lazy. Not only that, and I was talking about this yesterday, I believe that media literacy, like illiteracy and reading comprehension and comprehension in general is just, in general, very low. Because people are saying that Beyonce is promoting a pro-American agenda when Cowboy Carter is very blatantly, if you use your brain, very blatantly a criticism of what America is and what it stands for and how it was built. It opens with American Requiem. A requiem is a mass for the dead. It is saying that there are people who there's a whole lot of red in the white and blue. She's literally saying that there are people who died, the backs, oh my God, America is built on the backs of black people, specifically is who she's speaking to and about, because she's talking even about the reclamation of a genre that was founded by black people, that is locked out by black people, which is why the second track is Blackbird, which is a cover of a song that was written about the 3 girls who were killed in the Birmingham bombing during the Civil Rights Movement. She also, on that song, got four country artists, black women who are in country music, who are often overlooked. She got them on a track because she knew that would give them more exposure, which it did. Shouts out to all of the girls on there. They did a beautiful job. Blackbird is about black girls who literally were murdered during the Civil Rights Movement. I don't know, and it was written by Paul McCartney, don't get me wrong, but if you use your brain, she's criticizing America. She's not saying woo, USA. She's saying, yeah, USA. There's a whole lot of red in that white and blue. Even the choice, because I've seen people bringing up the choice to bring out Post Malone and Miley Cyrus. Let us remember, Miley Cyrus and Post Malone are two people who benefited from hip hop and black culture, yet they get respected in the country space. Unlike certain people, are y'all following what the lady is trying to do? And by all means, I believe that Post Malone and Miley Cyrus are like very respectable artists. But the whole point is they get to be in multiple genres and respected in different spaces. Yet there's a limit for. Oh my God, are y'all hearing me? Willie Nelson, who is also a part of this album, is someone who has advocated for like black people, queer people his entire career, albeit not always in a way that I think he should have. But he has advocated for these people in the space since Jump. And he's an OG in the country space. They were also outraged by him saying Black Lives Matter during the Black Lives Matter movement. Like, literally, like I'm telling you, the lady is criticizing the whole goddamn thing. Linda Martell, she is an OG. She's a pioneer in she's a black, not even just black, but she's a pioneer in country music. Yet she has been overlooked for so many years because of her race. Beyonce is criticizing. And I know you can have your criticism for Beyonce, you can have criticism for the art, but to blatantly misrepresent is fucked up. And it's honestly intellectually lazy. And no shade, as a black American who is the great-great-great-great-grandchild of a formerly enslaved person, it's okay for us to say, yeah, we built this bitch. And when you look at America, you can see us. See us. Stop exploiting us, taking our shit. See us. This is us. Like, and I get it. Like I'm not, look, I don't fuck with America. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like, but it's a complex relationship for a reason. And I know that I'm gonna get blowback for this. It's fine. But, like to deny what Beyonce means to black Southerners and how she represents like what it's like to be a black person existing in this, like I think it's intellectually lazy. It's more complex than y'all are giving it credit for. And at the very least, don't just write it off as pro-American propaganda when it's literally criticizing the way that America came to be. Hello?
Hello?
Hello. So first of all, no crumbs. And well, context, as Evan taught us, is that there's a large conversation going on in the black community on TikTok about whether, Beyonce is a propagandist or not. And I think in a lot of ways Beyonce is, and I think in a lot of ways Beyonce is not. What I actually wanted to take away from this video is what they say in the very first, like minute or so, which is about critiquing art and like the way in which like art is, like our media literacy is so bad, particularly when it comes to art. And I've seen a couple of these kind of takes too about, like just discussing how we consume art and how we can be deeper. And the one thing that I want to say is like, a lot of y'all look for the Easter eggs in friggin' Taylor Swift, but you won't look for the Easter eggs that Beyonce has been leaving for 20 plus years. The woman has been leaving us Easter eggs in songs for 25 years, and so have other artists. When we talk about a Billie Holiday and we talk about the song Strange Fruit, if y'all don't know what that's about, you haven't dug deep enough. And I think where I'll land this is that if you are an artist that thinks your art is mile wide and inch deep, and that people will only care about it being mile wide, you need to dig deeper and find the actual meaning in your art. Your art matters. We just need to know why it matters to you, and that is how you produce something like that, like Cowboy Carter and the depth of Cowboy Carter. And so I just like the takeaway, again, it was a $20 million budgeted gate kept show on Netflix. Capitalism, the height of capitalism, right? And beyond, like both things can be true. And Beyonce is criticizing the fuck out of America. Right? Like both things can be true. And we have to learn how to conversate about that. It's not all or nothing. Anyway, I yield.
I'm going to say about this subject that you can't wake up people who are pretending to be asleep, Tara. You will never, ever, ever, ever wake up a person who is pretending to be asleep. And so if they don't want to see or hear Beyonce say America has a problem,